Welcome to Sports Betting Podcast from pregame.com for the week of November 19th, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell, and I'm joined by Vegas runner, genuine professional bettor here in Las Vegas, Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business. This is segment 5 of 6, big game preview, Sunday Night Football, Chicago, Philadelphia. Vegas runner, tell us about the line.
All right, this one opened up with Philly as a road favorite, -2.5 with a total 44.5. As of this morning, Philly's -3 and the over-under's 45. So a significant move towards the favorite now that it's on the key number of 3 and a little bit of money on the over.
As we talked about, all half points are not created equal. Going on 3 in the NFL is the biggest move possible.
Absolutely.
All right, Marco, as a handicapper, what jumped out at you about this game?
Well, I like to look at the games from last week and look at the box scores and see if there's anything misleading in any of them. And what jumped out is last week, even though Philadelphia lost to San Diego, they won the stats 462 yards to 331. So you got a huge disparity there in yardage in a misleading final.
All right, so you're saying then that what jumps out at you is this Philly team is potentially playing better than it seems.
Better than last week's game would indicate, yes. I agree with you there.
Okay, so no official free pick on this game, unless I'm mistaken.
No, sir, you are correct.
All right, and so the question is, VR, as you're looking at it as a handicapper, do you have a lean on this game?
Yeah, my lean initially is to the over. Reason being, I think this Philly team's a little tired. Going out west, playing San Diego. Now they go home. Now they got to fly back out to Chicago. So it's a little shorter preparation time. I think that's going to give Chicago a little edge. And I think we also gain an edge on the total because everyone saw what Chicago did last Thursday night on national television, only being able to put up 6 points, was it?
I didn't see it. I fell asleep. It was so boring.
So I think we get a little line value because of that. I think this total would have been closer to like 47, 48. And I think there's a little bit of value there. Got to do a little more work. I was looking to take the dog, but I see that there's a surface difference. And Philly 7-2 against the spread the last 9 on grass. But were they a dog since they were on the road? So I got to dig a little deeper and see. When they do the surface change, they've covered, but was that in the dog position? Because now they're a road favorite, so it's a big difference.
It seems like there's been a big swing. I mean, this Chicago team was right there in season win projections with Green Bay and with Minnesota. Yep. They were all right around 9, if I remember correctly. And now this Chicago team is being looked at as the bottom third of the league. So Marco, you were saying Philly maybe a little underrated. Chicago, are they properly rated, underrated, overrated?
Well, I was just about to bring up a good point, and you were talking about the win totals at the beginning of the season. These two teams played last year, so I think we would all agree that right now, at this point of the season, Chicago's playing worse than they were last year. Even though the projections were higher, this team's playing bad right now.
And just not to interrupt, because to take your thought, but going back to what you said, the perception, I went back for this game too and to see what line did they have over the summer, like we spoke about in an earlier preview, the games you could bet, the marquee games. Since this is a Sunday night game, they had a lineup. They had Chicago as a 1-point favorite. So now you're talking about a 4-point swing the other way.
But last year, Philly come into Chicago on a Sunday night game, and if you remember, me and you had this game in the Money Talks game.
I remember.
And they withstood the fourth and goal to preserve the win Philadelphia did, and the line was 3 last year, the same number that we're looking at this year. So again,
but the game was in Philly last year.
No, it was in Chicago.
All right, so okay, so you're saying that relatively last year, relatively this year, the teams are considered the same, but you're saying that's a sign perhaps that the number's a little short and the Philly should be a bigger favorite because you think Chicago's playing so bad?
That's the perception, I would say, but me being the opposite guy that I am, that would make me lean to the home dog. That they're putting this line up that people are going to look for Philly to bounce back. Stepping down in class off of the San Diego game last week. But I actually have two opinions in this game.
You're saying that Philly laying 3 right now, which is where the market's at, is you think that the first instinct of the square bettor is, man, that's a value. That's a short number.
Yes.
Yeah, I say 7 to 10 bets come in on Philly.
So if that's the all right. So when you say 7 or 10 bets,
7 of 10. 7 of 10.
7 of 10. Okay. So you're seeing Philly as the value here. It makes you wonder why they opened that game at 2.5.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I think they wanted to see where the sharps stand on this, because Chicago has a huge home field edge when you look at all their overall performance this year. This team's 1-4 on the road, so definitely when they play home, they play much better. They're 3-1 at home, so it's a huge swing for them.
Chicago has two edges in this game. One is obvious and one is not. The obvious edge that they've got is they played on Thursday night last week, so they got extra prep time. The other edge that a lot of people may not consider, and this is what makes me like the over with you, my leans are actually Chicago and over in this game. But
we agree on this.
We agree on this one, so no bets unless RJ wants to get in. But the Bears' offensive coordinator, his brother is the head coach of the San Diego Chargers. So you can rest assured that these two will talk during the week. And Big Brother, or I don't know who's the older brother of the two, but the two brothers will talk, and he'll tell them some of the things that worked last week and what didn't work, what they, in game, and that'll help the Bears in their preparation this week.
That's a good. I didn't even look at that, and that's a good point. Look at Philly.
That's old school.
2.5 weeks ago. 2.5 weeks ago, Philly was 5-2.
It's old school, except you found that out on the internet, I'm guessing.
The new school way. No, 2 weeks ago we were talking about this Philly team as they could win the NFC East if they could get past the Giants. They were sitting at 5-2, and now everyone's talking about this Philly team are they even going to make the playoffs? I think they can't run the ball, man. Without Westbrook, they're just not themselves.
He's out this week.
Yeah, well, they're saying if his head hurts.
No, I guess now they're saying he's out.
100%.
That's what I've seen, and we're taping on Wednesday. To me, this Philly team is just always one of these teams that people always think they're better. There's always a premium on them. There's always, people think McNabb's going to play well. For whatever reason, they're like San Diego in that. They always seem to underperform, almost always, but people always seem to think the next week is the week it's going to happen.
Fantasy points.
I rarely see value on Philly. The Chicago team, one is Cutler and his attitude. It's easy not to like that. But two, we talk about profiling teams. The Chicago team doesn't strike me as a team that likes to get smacked in the mouth. In fact, they've only covered 1 of 8 as an underdog. So yeah, if they can throw and blow teams out, they do fine ATS. When they're the inferior team, at least in the last 8, they haven't done so well with that.
Yeah.
All right, so Marco, we actually every week in one of our 6 videos or on the audio podcast, we give away a $10 coupon, no questions asked, if you want to get any best bets over at pregame.com, or you can go to the best bet section directly at pregamepros.com. Give us the coupon for this week.
Well, the talk all week has been punt or not punt, so we're going to use the coupon punt 10, because that's what you should have did, Belichick. Punt.
I like that. That's what he should have done.
Well, that's what he should have done.
All right, so punt, P-U-N-T, 10, all one word. When you're checking out a pregame, you throw it in the coupon, you get $10 off, and if your whole package is $10 or less, it's on us, huh? You get it for free. Speaking of Belichick, I actually did some mathematical work on that decision and actually came up with the math saying Belichick was right. That's actually up in the forums, and Colin Cowherd talked about it. And my article was published at National Football Post, which is Mike Lombardi's site. So if you're interested, check that out in the forums. The $10 coupon. Now, who's extra hot real quick in pros?
2 guys, I got to tell you. Dwayne Bryant, he hit 2 games of the year last weekend. He's 12-3 with his last 15. And as good as that is, Tony George is upstaging him. 14 winners in a row.
Put your sunglasses on. You're hot too. 11-1, right? This is the sign of how hot VR is. Look at this. All right, let's fade out. That's it. Let's fade out with this.
It's too bright.
All right, this has been our 5th. This has been our 5th segment. Next up, our 6th segment, Monday Night Football preview. And remember, you can get all of our videos at pregame.tv, or if you want to download and listen, go to iTunes and search for pregame.com.